Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today, Mimi, Brenna, and I are going to be in the backyard flower beds doing some late winter clean up in this space. This is a lot of perennials are in here, and I have shrubs. This space has not been touched literally since the summertime. It is in some desperate need of TLC. It is a gorgeous blue sky, nice, clear, a little breezy, a little on the cool side, but the sun is out, so we are out and getting some work done. Thought it'd be fun to just kind of bring you along for the ride, because I figured kind of my motto is if I'm dealing with it in my garden, then that probably means somebody else is dealing it with that kind of situation in their garden. So I'm just going to share with you what I am doing. We're going to do a lot of cutting back today. A lot of these perennials desperately need to be trimmed back, because before we know it, spring is going to be here. In fact, I have got tulip bulbs and daffodil bulbs popping up out of the ground. I definitely need to get these perennials cut back before they start to put on new growth for this season. And then there are some select shrubs that I need to prune as well. I'm going to just kind of walk you through on what we are doing today. So if you need to do that in your garden, then you have the knowledge and the know-how to then tackle it in your garden as well. We are back here in the backyard beds. These are 2 island beds that this will be their third year being in existence here. Basically, they're kind of a bit of a kidney shaped bean on both of them. This, the first one that we are in, is going to be on the smaller side of the 2, just a little bit smaller. Brenna is giving Mimi lots of good loving. She, bless her heart, has been inside for the whole weekend and for the past 2 days, and so she's very eager to be outside. What Mimi is doing right now is avoiding the tail slaps, but she's going through the echinacea and the perennial grasses and cutting them back. Again, we've talked about this before, especially with your perennials. You're just going to cut them down to the ground. You can see here where she went through on the echinacea, and they're just little stumps, right? You're just going to give them flat tops and cut all of that foliage off down to the ground. Exact same thing with the perennial grasses. Left them up all winter, nice brown growth on them. She's got her Felcos, and she's just getting there, going to cut them basically down to the ground. What we need to do as well is take care of some of our shrubs. Now, in this space right here, I have a pugster butterfly bush. I am going to leave my pugster alone until we get really past winter. The best time to prune your butterfly bushes, you need to prune them because they bloom on new growth, but the best time to prune them is when you start to see little new growth appear, and that's going to be for quite a while. Probably end of March, I would say. I have pruned them before, and then inevitably we'll get a really hard cold snap, and then it sets them back even more. So I am leaving mine alone until, for me in North Carolina, a zone 8A, probably towards end of March. So kind of gives you an idea on that. Behind the pugster, we have got 3 double play doozy spireas. Spireas also bloom on new growth. So these have not been pruned, and they really need to get a nice hard prune on them. They're going to be stunning and gorgeous, but they bloom on new growth, so we need to encourage new growth. I'm probably going to cut these back by half. Right now they're just sticks. I'm not going to be very precise. I don't have to worry about, you know, cutting right above 2 little leaf buds, bud swells. So we're just going to go in there and cut them back really nice and hard. Same thing with my Pearl Glam beauty berries. So we've got 3 of them here in the back. So we're going to, again, give them a nice shape, probably cut them back by about 1/3, not quite half. And then oregano. If y'all do not have the Drops of Jupiter oregano, I would really encourage you to look for it and grab it. It is such a fun perennial. Now you can see that we have all of this old growth from last year. These were where the blooms were, but yet underneath there we have that beautiful chartreuse evergreen foliage, really nice and low. So we're going to come in here and just going to cut back all of this stuff. The green stays, but all of this top growth here is going to get cut back really nicely. So there are multiple plants, perennials that need to be trimmed. So we're going to take care of that. I have my summerific hibiscus. So this is the Valentine's Crush. You can see it has not been pruned. That needs to be pruned as well. So basically what we're going to do is just kind of come in here and do some cleanup. If there's an area where I think that it would be helpful for you to know about, then of course I will pull the camera and we'll stop. We'll chit chat for a little bit. I just would really encourage you to get out there and spend some time in your garden. Grab a friend, grab your mama, grab your neighbor, grab your kid, grab your dog, whoever, and just get out there in the garden. Now, of course, as we find weeds, weeds come out, right? We do not want to have those weeds because you've got winter weeds, you've got summer weeds, you've got weeds for every season. So like right now I can see some onions, so we need to get those onions out. But basically we're just gonna come in here and just spend some time in the garden, no pressure, no fuss. Gonna do a little bit probably of thinking about moving some plants. I know there are some plants in here as far as the design and the placement that I'm not really thrilled about. Not that I really plan on moving any of those today, but I'm probably gonna pick Mama's brain about that and see some ideas. Here's some things that she has, maybe some suggestions, and we're going to talk about some stuff and come up with some good plans. So what we're going to do is just set the camera up. I'm going to go through and just prune back all these perennials that we're talking about, right? So I've got my giant garden phlox here. I've got more grasses, echinacea, and we're just going to give them good little flat tops, haircuts, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll chit chat about something else. Mimi and I have gotten this first flower bed all pruned back, nothing special there, right? So we got the perennials cut down to the ground. We got the pearl glams and the spireas trimmed back, half to a third. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tackle this poor little David Alston rose. Got her last year. This is the new introduction. This is Elizabeth. And she is on the struggle bus and was on the struggle bus all last year. A couple of reasons, I think. One, the rootstock was pretty small. It was brand new introductions last year, and so it was just a really small rootstock. Talked to a friend of mine who also got Elizabeth, and his was the same way, small. And then just being in this container, just the whole thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to give her another chance in this container. I was talking to Mom and I was like, do I just put her in the ground? She said, no, let's lift her up, repot her. So that is what we're going to do. So Mimi has got me some Land and Sea. I've got some fresh potting soil, and I've got my biotone. I don't think the roots are probably really intense on this, but I'm still going to try to obviously not hurt her. And I've got my hoary, and we're just going to come in here and try to figure out where the roots are and lift it up. So if you have a pot, if you have a container and you have a shrub, perennial, whatever it may be in it that is struggling.
And you don't have to pull her all the way out, Jen, okay? You just lift her up if you want to lift her up.
Well, her roots are going down.
All right. And I can...
Yep. Okay.
Can you lift a little bit more?
Yep. Hang on. Okay. She's hard.
Can't go much more.
So Mimi told me Mimi's got 1 or 2 years gardening experience on me, so I listened to what she says. So we didn't completely pull her out, right? I lifted her up, Mimi came in, and then we're adding in that.
Let's put a little biotone in it too.
Yep, put the compost around it. Then we're gonna take our biotone. Mimi's the master of just working it in. So yes, that the biotone is specifically for root growth, but as you can see, we call this zhuzhing. You just come in and you just work it. You just get it in there and make it nice and happy. This does have irrigation in it. I'm not sure if that was part of the problem. But Mimi, let's go ahead and add
some soil, right?
Yeah, we can do some soil and then maybe even some more land and seed on top. Because with the rose, you want your crown to be covered. Yep.
More?
I think this is good because I want to come back with some land and see. And the thing is we're just coming in and incorporating it all together and getting it all worked in there. Roses love compost. They love that really nice, rich, organic matter. So when in doubt, if you want to top dress your roses, doesn't have to be David Austin, any kind of rose, right? Loves, let's do a little bit more, yeah. Let's give Elizabeth all she can possibly have. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Yeah, so roses absolutely thrive in really rich organic areas. So in a container, obviously you need to provide that for them. I am gonna go ahead and prune her back. I'm actually late on pruning my other roses. I'm gonna do that later on this week. So while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of her. Because she's new growth, we're gonna cut her back. She's like only a 1-year-old plant, about 12 inches tall, but I have some dead stems in here. Those can get cut back. Those are not gonna come, we're not gonna have any growth off of that. So, and all the way down, it is really brown. So, you wanna go ahead and get rid of that and get that out of there. So she is definitely struggling and thin. I like keeping my tag, so I'll tuck it in somewhere. Mimi, take that care. Thank you, Mimi. There we go. So all of this was dead. So if you have any dead stems on your roses, take it off. Now what we want to do is take it back by about 12 inches and get rid of any kind of foliage. So you don't have to be super precise. And I'm taking this from David Austin. I love how they give instructions on their roses, and we're just coming in here because roses bloom on new growth. All roses bloom on new growth, so we want to take them back. So she's a stick. There you go. Now, people always ask, are you not gonna water it? No, I am not gonna water it. My gosh, one, soil already very wet. The compost was damp when we put it in here. We are in North Carolina. We get constant rain in the winter time. So she is perfectly fine, and she's just gonna sit. With my roses, I will come back. When they start putting out fresh new growth, I will give her some good fertilizer, and then we're just leaving her alone. So Elizabeth is taken care of. I do have Nye Bevan on the other bed that will probably do the same thing. We'll take a look at him and see how he's doing, but Elizabeth, we're gonna give her another whirl. friends, so the morning in the backyard bed project is complete. Mimi has gone to eat lunch. Brenna is still here with me, and we are going to wrap this up. Let me show you some of the progress. Y'all, I know I've told you this before, but I am a huge fan. Let me get in really close here to you. Huge fan of neat and tidy. That's all we did. Did I plant new plants that are full of flowers and color? No. Did I lay down new mulch? No. Did I trim things back? Did I wrestle a massive briar patch and win? Yes, I did. And so things just look so much better when they're neat and tidy. Just, if you only have 5 minutes and you've got one little section of weeds to pull, do that. You will feel so accomplished and so much better when it is done. All right, so to give you an overview. Now, I don't know if you can tell a huge difference with the before and the after, but my gosh, Mimi and I certainly can. It is just, things are trimmed back. We got the shrubs that are, trimmed back. The only shrubs that we needed to do, of course, were the spireas, the Pearl Glam Beauty Berries. I did go ahead and do the roses, all of my plants that bloom on new growth. Now, I have a total of 4 Fairy Trail hydrangeas in here. They bloom on old growth. I do not touch them. Not gonna leave, I'm just gonna leave them alone. They're fine. I have 2 ginkgos. I have a ginkgo shrub here, left it alone. Then I have a ginkgo tree over there beside the birdhouse, leaving that alone. I love this Hinoki Slender. It is such a fun, what I call a Dr. Seuss tree, right? It is a gorgeous evergreen, just has really cool texture to it. It's taken on a little bit more of a coppery look to it in the wintertime, right? How it's got, I don't say rust, but just copper look to it. Then of course in the summertime, it'll flush out and be nice and bright green. I don't prune this. We put it in, it was a 15-gallon when we did this bed 3 years ago, entering into its 4th year. I leave it alone. Look at that fun top to it. Really has that true like Dr. Seuss, flip at the top. It's just gonna do what it's going to do, and I am going to leave it alone. I love it, but the texture on this thing is just fabulous. I mean, look at that. And it's not, it is not pokey like a cedar. It is quite of a soft tree. So Mimi and I were talking about that. We don't like pokey evergreens. Like a cedar, we have lots of like native cedars, that are around here in the woods and everything. And when you touch them, it's almost like you could like get a splinter off in your hands. Don't like that. So Mr. Hinoki Slender is just hanging out there and just loving life. This bed, oh my gosh, y'all, looking neat and tidy and clean. I did go ahead, I had the Summerific hibiscus. It, quote, looks like it is completely gone. You just cut it straight to the ground. Butterfly bushes, of course, we left alone. This is a really fun one. This is what you call a hairy louder walking stick. It is a funky shrub that is very contorted and just has really cool texture to it, right? I mean, look at that. It is just such a fun, neat specimen that really, in my opinion, shines in the wintertime because you can see how contorted it is. It really does like this spot because it has grown significantly since we put it in. It will do some nice evergreen foliage, and then it'll do little, I don't even know what you would call them, little, like almost like a little pendula that will comes down, hangs out. The Japanese beetles do like to chew on the leaves, so it can make it look unsightly in that fashion. I used a tree and shrub drench on all of my plants that the Japanese beetles like. It is a 12-month drench that I mix it up with water, pour it around the base of the plant, and then it's a systemic, so the plant soaks up that and keeps the beetles off of it. We can talk about that another day. Just know if you don't have Japanese beetles, count your blessings because they are gosh awful. So that is the best, most effective way that I have found to treat my plants. Going out every morning and picking them off by hand is not an option for me. I have way too many plants and I just can't do that. So that has been the best way that I have found to treat Japanese beetles. now's a good time to do it. You can do it now, all the way through the spring. I mean, you really do it any time of year, but it's a tree and shrub drench. So there you go on that. I have forsythias in this flower bed. I have forsythias and I have some blueberry bushes. So you'll see those in the back here. They got left alone as well, and just neat and tidy. These are the other two fairy trail hydrangeas. This hydrangea was the one that had a huge briars, thorns growing out of it. Y'all, I wrestled it and I won. I'm so proud of myself. But the roots, the main part of the plant was right up against the hydrangea. The roots spread all the way. They had runners that went everywhere right through here. I'm sure there's probably a couple of pieces left in there, but for the most part, I was able to get them out. It is really wet in here because we've had so much rain. That worked to my favor. Yes, I got muddy and I'm dirty, but I was able to easily, when I say easily, you understand that's a relative term, pull out all of those roots. They were not breaking off for me. So there you go. Mimi and I did go ahead and do the Nye Bevan. This is the other introduction from David Alston last year. It had sunk a lot as well. Lifted it up and he should be doing quite nicely. So there you go. There is irrigation in those containers. So the Nye Bevan got lifted up. And then the Julia Child Rose Standard got pruned as well. Now you may be looking at Julia Child and going, my goodness, she's got a funky shape to her. Well, yes, she does. If you will remember, my Emily wanted to rescue this Rose Standard from the nursery maybe 2 years ago, and it was looking rough. It was very misshapen and just looked bad. But my Emily, I would say, is not the biggest gardener. So when she expressed interest in trying to save this Rose Standard, I happily agreed and said, let's put it, this would be a perfect place for it. It bloomed the most gorgeous. It was stunning. Very, very gorgeous. And so yes, it's a little misshapen, but this is Emily's Rose of, Rose Standard. She wanted to do it. It's in, it is stunning, and it is gorgeous. Some of the prettiest roses I have ever seen. So it stays and she is fine. We like her little quirkiness. How about that? There you go. And then I have another forsythia right here that is just massive. Now, your forsythias, we call them yellow bells. When I was growing up, we always called them yellow bells. And this is Show Off from Proven Winners, and y'all, it is huge. Like, it's got limbs coming down right here. It's going over here into my blueberry bush, and it is nice and tall. Show Off is going to be the big one. Forsythias bloom on old growth. So you might be able to see right here, those little buds. Those are my future flowers. So am I going to prune this if it has flower buds on it? No, I am not. Does she need to be pruned? Absolutely. So when do you prune your forsythias, your yellow bells? You prune them after they bloom. You can give it a nice hard prune. I will certainly do that. Clean it up. It had massive growth on it last year. I can see where I cut it last year, and there's like 3 feet of growth on the end of that. So you can give it a nice hard prune after it finishes flowering. Do not cut your forsythias, your yellow bells right now, or you're gonna lose a ton of your gorgeous flowers. But I do love yellow bells, forsythias, great one. So yeah, so we got it all done. Nice, productive morning in the garden. I love it. Mimi might come back after lunch because, yeah, we got some work to do up against the house. It's looking a little rough. So I'm not gonna show you. Why not? I can show you that, yeah. I mean, we're all about messes and successes, right? So up against the house here, I've got some of my, lamb's ear that looks terrible. I need to prune back peonies. I've got Scentlandia that needs to be cleaned up. I've got, dare I say, some more Christmas decorations laying right there. Yep, just keeping it real around here, y'all. There's always a messy area in every person's garden. It's just, are they gonna be honest and show it to you? Me, why not? Let's just be real here. All right. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Hope you found this fun, informative. You learned a couple of things. get out there in your garden. As long as you're not covered in, you know, snow and you can, or ice, and you can get out there and do something, do it. And if you do have snow and you have a nice pretty day, go out there and just sit. You don't even have to walk, because it could be hard to walk. Just go out there and soak up the sun just for, you know, even if it's for 5 minutes, just do it. You'll feel tons better. All right, my friends, we'll see you next video. Bye.